Welcome to Sit Down with the Soekawas. I'm Alicia Soekawa.
And I am Michael Soekawa.
And we own The Collaborative, a real estate brokerage in Richmond, Virginia. We are husband and wife and mom and dad. And this podcast is talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly of real estate business and working with your spouse. Oh, you gotta do a little bedazzle.
Got it.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Let's still going.
All right.
Okay.
Looks good.
Yay. Okay.
Welcome to Chillin'
You can't even say it
with
seriously.
the Soekawas.
We're back. Sit Down with the Soekawas. It's Alicia Soekawa. And
Michael Soekawa.
so it's after Thanksgiving, we had an eventful, awesome client appreciation event with handing out of all the pies. We get our pies from a local bakery and not your cookie cutter or big box store one. Nothing wrong with those, but we want to support our local business, number one. And number two, I think that Homemade by Suzanne are fresh, delicious, and everyone looks forward to getting a really, really nice pie every year. And so we have a great turnout. And then the rest, for whatever reason, if someone can't come, we take them to the fire department. And the firefighters are always so happy to get it. So that's always such a fun thing we do. And then we got to enjoy some quiet time. But now we're getting into the frenzy of the holiday season, which is exciting. And in that process, we are deep in business planning.
Yep.
And so we thought today we'd talk about what we are doing with our brokerage going forward in our leadership.
Sounds good.
So,
Awesome.
do you want to go first?
You go first.
Okay. So one of the biggest things that we're really implementing for 2023 is really looking at accountability. We talked about that in past podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And one suggestion from our leadership meeting, and this is one of the biggest reasons why we are in coaching and have what we call an ecosystem, meaning a group mastermind of all different people throughout the country that have businesses similar to ours or gigantormous businesses.
Yes.
And smaller businesses. So they're so willing to share.
Right.
And that's why that value is unbelievable. And sometimes it's hard to get beyond the money you pay for coaching, but the value you get is mind-blowing.
Well, it's priceless, really, because by being a part of that ecosystem, you are privy to, and it's almost like a club. And I don't want to make it sound like a private club or anything like that, but a lot of these people have made a lot of mistakes to learn what they've learned. They've spent hundreds of thousands, combined millions of dollars learning these skills, and they're not in any industry, but real estate as well. People are not going to just share that information, especially you have to be ready to receive it, right? So
Yeah, I think I call it like taking a look under the hood, and it's almost like a bar to entry. So they have to make sure you're serious. And
Right.
and it makes sense. It's like that concept of what Jim Rohn says, you have to be, the 5 people you surround yourself around. And that is why we have chosen to surround ourselves around people that we're trying to elevate to in business. And so that we can learn and grow as leaders and as business people. So one of the biggest things that was suggested at this meeting, and I've heard it a few times, and I never understood what this an acronym is. It acronym or
Acronym.
Acronym.
An acronym.
An acronym EOS Model stands for, and it is trademark, and it stands for Entrepreneurial Operating System.
Yep.
And I never understood because people would talk about, oh, it's EOS, you got to do EOS, and I'm thinking, what the hell is that? I didn't even know what EOS stood for. So finally, I figured it out because one of our fun accountability partners, well, mine, Deborah Morton,
She
and
is fun.
she's amazing. And I remember getting the text. We were on the plane ride back. She's like, you better get this book. And then Michael said, oh, yeah. Byron said we need to read that book. And it was Traction.
Deborah and I were both in that session.
Oh, you were in that session. So she had already gotten Rocket
Right.
Fuel and had read the whole book on the plane.
Yep.
So Rocket Fuel and then Traction, they kind of go hand in hand. And Rocket Fuel talks about the visionary role and the integrator role in entrepreneurial businesses that scale and the
Right.
importance of having those two pieces. It's like a yin and a yang to business. And they kind of go over it. And he also references Simon Sinek's book, the very ever popular Start With Why. And so I started reading, I'm like halfway through that. It's amazing book.
Yeah.
And so the book references the importance. It's kind of like the beginning. And then I read the Rocket Fuel first, and I'm like halfway through Traction right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's different from some books because I read some books and it's like all conceptual and it's not really like, now what am I going to do? Like, I got to go figure it out, right?
Yeah. They tell you almost everything,
Yeah.
but not the stuff that you really need.
Yeah. This one is more like they gave us an assessment and I am the visionary. Like, I came out 92% visionary and like 40% integrator. And Michael there's a very small percentage of people. Like, now, of course, there's some people that are not either, meaning they're not supposed to be neither of those roles.
Right.
They're just a different role. But if you have a leader and you're trying to figure out, are you a visionary and integrator being like process, system, support. Michael is one of those unique people. And when you took that test and it came back that way, I sent it to Deborah. She's like, okay, he's a weirdo freak. And I was like,
Deborah, you don't even know.
Stop. But seriously, in all seriousness, the book specifically speaks to I guess like 0.1% of leaders come up as like equal visionary and integrator, meaning they can wear both hats or they can choose which one is the more dominant, like what their passion leans towards. So which makes it a really good match for us because I'm so strong visionary and you have equal. And then we have a third person that we just brought into our business who is a true integrator and he's really showing up that way. It's been very, just refreshing in just
Super
2 weeks.
process oriented.
Holy moly, he's already,
Exactly
integrating like Asana and just, I can see like he's all lit up inside because he's doing what he's great at and what he should be doing, right? Where his 100% ability is.
Exactly.
So, that was that rocket fuel book. So based on that, we've kind of like set our clarity out. And one of the biggest things they talk about is knowing your vision. And instead of doing like a 25-page report, which a lot of companies do, and then you just feel like exhausted, they really make you break it down. So they have like a 1-pager, which is a term, I guess, in the business world anyways, like a 1-pager, literally 1 page. And on this page, it really breaks down like your core values, your core focus, 10-year target, your marketing strategy, and your 3-year picture.
Right.
And so right now, I've had core values since 2017. I came up with these and I was like, this is what we stand for. But honestly, I never really I lived through them as myself, but not as a company and not as everybody buying into it. And we didn't really necessarily hire to it or train to it or live by it. And I didn't understand why it was so necessary. And now I get it. So that's what I mean by the clarity, right? Based on our like increasing our, changing up our restructuring, our business model and everything. So I just thought I would share our core values and then knowing like, it's like when he said, when you go through your core values, you can do yes, no with whoever you have in your company so easily. Right. And I was like, you just add like 5 categories of the core value. Is it yes, no, yes, no? Right. And if they don't have more than 3, then they're a definite no. Right. So for our core values, and I put a we are instead of just the core value. So that's like present tense. So our 5 are we are committed to be outstanding, which is a great measurement because it's someone that's like they're okay or they're average or they try. That's not our value, right?
Yeah. Some people just
float along.
Want to get by.
Yeah.
Just want to do.
Just doing a minimum or I can't come today. And that's not good because then it brings everybody else down. So that, and if you have.
And depending on what role you're in, you could probably put someone like that in a particular role, but
if you don't have to.
Speaking, I mean, it's not ideal. I'm just saying there are so many different types of people. So that's why these core values are good to put out there, like how we are putting them in front of everybody.
Yeah, I think it's important because I wanted to make sure that we are getting ready to have our big business meeting. And the reason I bring that up is that when you have a measurement of to be outstanding, it's not just in sales. It could be just outstanding attitude, outstanding how you live, outstanding outlook, outstanding support, like whatever that is, you stand for being outstanding. Right. 2 is being cutting edge and innovative. Like our tech stack is so important to us. And we are a very innovative family and we try to do things and be the first to do things. And so we can't have people aligning with us that resist technology because it doesn't make sense. And then they're going to hold everybody else back.
Or change. Some people are very resistant to change. I'm that way with some things, but I think in business, especially in something like real estate, if you don't keep up and even lead the way, are willing to try things that haven't even really been tested, it's going to be very hard to stay on the cutting edge and even really excel.
What do you think you're not willing to change?
I don't know. I feel like in the past you've told me you're never going to change.
This is not a relationship podcast.
Oh, okay. Back to business.
But I think, sir, I don't even know
Did
what to
you
say
lose your
about
focus?
that. I did because I'm so confused. That's not what I thought.
All right.
I was just curious your thought process on that. 3 is we are client focused. And I think that's where we really just shine, right? 4 is we have consistent follow-up and communication. And I think communication is one of the biggest gaps in a lot of businesses and also in client service.
Well, relationships in general,
Yeah.
right?
Like nobody knows how to have a conversation anymore. Like pick up the phone and say, hey, this is what I meant by that, you know?
And you can't assume that you know what someone's thinking. So,
Oh, you're right. Or you can't speak for the situation when you don't know about
right.
it, you know?
Exactly.
And then number 5 is really important we are caring and kind. And I think that's something like the people in our brokerage now are very, very caring and kind people and have amazing hearts. And I think sometimes sales has a like snake cutthroat feeling to it and has a reputation of that. And I can confidently say that that's not the environment we're creating, which is really good.
Right. I don't feel that from any of our people.
No.
People have good hearts that we're working with.
Are you a real estate agent in the Richmond, Virginia market or wanting to become one? We would love to have a conversation with you. Here at The Collaborative, we look for agents or potential agents that are coachable, competent, have strong character, and are committed to growth. And we are here committed to help you grow as well in your life and in business. The Collaborative is a group of aligned agents and support staff that are seeking personal growth and professional growth at the highest level. Give us a call today. We'd love to have a conversation with you. You can always reach us at thecollaborativere.com or shoot us a message.
So in our mission, it's really cool because I went over this today. Jamie, one of our agents, did our one-to-one business plan, and we do that with all of our agents so we can get on the same page with them privately before we present as a brokerage. But she was like, oh, can I get a copy of all of these? I said, oh, we're going to get a copy because I'm going to be doing a whole presentation and sending everybody the presentation. We're going to have these printed up on our walls.
Exactly.
That whole hallway I was thinking would be great to have have it printed up like a design. Yeah. So, and then our purpose, our cause, our passion, our tagline that's on our on the window coming in and on our website, it says experienced realtors working together for your ideal tomorrow. That's our mission as a brokerage. And it speaks to exactly what we're trying to do for our clients and working together as the collaborative. In our niche, this is what I'm really proud of is that we don't buy the business, is what I say. We do have some lead sources, but ultimately we earn the business, in my opinion. And our niche is the wow experience in real estate and to be the realtor for life and to create raving fans.
Definitely.
And I think that's something, it's duplicatable, it's teachable. And that's the kind of agent we want to bring on that wants that and wants to learn how to grow that.
Right. And there's nothing better than getting business through word of mouth.
Oh my gosh.
The best.
100%.
Best feeling in the world.
So I just wanted to kind of go over that and some of the vision, and we're going to share a big 10-year vision coming up. We obviously, I want to say it out loud, our 10-year vision in 10 years is to have 3 actual physical offices in our area with 100 agents that are at least producing 15, 20 deals on average, which I think is a very successful brokerage and a model that we are saying as the niche brokerage.
I think it's successful, and but it's not
excessive. And,
exactly. It's not a model that's going to make people think I can't do that. We're in the process right now of making sure that we create and implement a plan that anyone could learn if they follow. So if you're willing to learn, and we're doing this right now by trial and error, and we want to create a plan that people could be given, and if they really stick to it, that they'd be successful. So.
Well, I think that speaks perfectly to the scorecard.
Yeah.
So one of the things in the book that made me go, oh my gosh, we need to do this, and it's tracking and measuring. And Tom Ferry, who's the head coach for the coaching program we do, always spoke to that what you track and measure, you grow. Right. So whether it's your checking account, investments, weight loss, health, sports, like all the sports people are always timing themselves, watching footage, all that. So one of the things in the EOS book talks about doing a scorecard every week, the same time. And every week you have these measurables, not more than 15, that you have a goal, and then you track week after week after week. And over time, you're going to see Are you hitting them or are you
Right,
not hitting them?
exactly.
Are they in the red? And so you can, it's more tangible. It's a leading instead of waiting till your P&Ls happen and you go, what
Exactly.
happened?
It's
right?
like a rolling analytic in a way.
Yeah.
So you can see your progress or lack of progress.
Yes. And so, and one of the things I think people always are asking for is accountability. We talked about that. And so what the scorecard does is that every week agents are going to report to us the number they've chosen, like breaking down from what their goal is.
Right.
Who do they need to contact and have engagement with?
Right.
Because we know in our business, if you engage, you're going to get an appointment. If you get an appointment, you are going to get a contract. If you get a contract, you're going to get a ratified contract. And if you ratify a contract, you will have a closing. So that's the waterfall.
Exactly.
And we know if they're having the conversations for real, it is science. There's no way you cannot
It's a numbers
have.
game. It's
Yeah.
a numbers game.
So that's really exciting to implement. And, everyone's really, and getting the biggest thing I would say if you're running a business is to have buy-in. Everybody has to be on board. Because if you have one negative Nancy, sorry if your name's Nancy, that's my thing I use, or one negative person, it says, no, I don't want to do that. And then you allow that for that one person, then it rips the whole building down really.
Well, it goes back to the post that we talk about that one of our peers wrote called The Moldy Strawberry.
Oh, yes. And actually, one of my coaching clients did a demonstration and tagged me in a story the other day about it.
Okay.
So if you have one moldy strawberry, it can affect everything else. You actually have to
Exactly.
dump the whole thing out and get the source because it's going
get
to
rid
keep
of the
running.
moldy strawberry.
So,
Exactly.
and I'm glad we did that this week. So
We've done it a couple times
Yeah.
and it's always been positive.
it has.
Yeah.
So, but that's just, I wanted to pause on that. I wanted to kind of go over like what our core values were, what we stood for, and going forward, like in our planning, how we kind of plan to go forward. And I
Awesome.
thought that's something helpful for people looking. And if you hire, fire, and make your culture to your core values, you cannot lose. You will scale, you will grow. And it's just a natural thing that happens, I noticed from the book, from what they said. And it makes sense because I already see it happening.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
So
So once
it's
again,
exciting.
tell everybody what they need to do to start this process.
You need to get the book Rocket Fuel and Traction. They're two different books. There's actually, I think, 5 in the series, but start with those two. Read Rocket Fuel first. And of course, then you're going to want to go get Simon Sinek's Start With Why, because it's more understanding the concepts. Take the assessment, figure out what you are if you're a business owner. If you're a visionary, then you need to go find an integrator. If you're an integrator, you're most likely going to be a visionary if you're reading these books. Very few integrators are going to be looking for these books. But you need to own your role. And one of the biggest things, and the thing it was talking about people, was you have to have the right person in the right seat.
Right.
And 2 people cannot have the same task. But one person can have 2 tasks.
Yes.
So when one person has 2 tasks and gets too overwhelmed, is at 100%, over 100% capacity, then that person needs to delegate it to the next person down.
Exactly.
And you need to know when someone's at 100% capacity.
Yeah,
That's how you scale and
absolutely.
grow.
That's right.
So if you have someone that's not willing to delegate or let go of the vine, they said that there's a whole chapter letting go of the vine,
Right.
then you cannot grow and scale.
Makes sense.
So I'm trying to let go. I've been doing much better with letting go of the vine, and it's very freeing.
You're coming along.
Thank you.
Hey,
See
if
you
you follow this advice and pick up those 2 books, post a picture on Instagram, tag Alicia or the collaborative. You can find our logo will pop up and we'll send you a special gift.
At alicia.rva is my IG. I'm always liking some followers.
Yeah.
And if you want to DM us ideas for our podcast, we'd love that too.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you for listening.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
That was a good one.
That was good.
What was that? Oh, I wasn't knowing what you were doing.
I was trying to remember what the clapping one was.
So I thought,
And then I gotta find the clapping one so I can. There you go.
this is, so this is what we're doing now.